Hey guys, Paul here from the GOHUNT Gear Shop, and today we want to talk about the best technical apparel pieces for your preseason workouts, warm-ups, and everything that we need to get ready for our next tag and our hunts coming up in 2023. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cover merino versus synthetic. I know that that's been a really big debate for a lot of people as far as maybe insulation and everything else, but technically we want to talk about how these pieces are really going to benefit you in preseason and everything else, because as we know as hunters, and maybe as athletes and outdoor men and women, we really need our gear to hold up to what we need to do to feel confident in what it is that we need to do. So as we all know, we have merino and we have what we call like a hybrid or a synthetic. And a synthetic will typically be a blend of a nylon and a spandex, maybe a full-on polyester. And as we have in like our approach hoodie here, it will be a polyester spandex blend. In something like the CHINOOK merino, it will be a merino spandex blend, and we'll get into maybe why we might see some of those blends. But to kind of start with one thing first, I want to talk about merino. Let me slide these guys out of the way. A merino top and a base layer is incredibly comfortable. For some, it could be slightly itchy on the skin, so if you have sensitive skin or maybe get bugged out by that a little bit, keep an eye on that. Synthetic might be more beneficial for you. But I'd like to talk about merino first. Personally, I do enjoy merino, especially this time of year where it's a little bit colder. It is great next to the body for warmth and everything else. Merino wool is very beneficial in the sense that it can wick sweat away from the body really easily while still keeping us warm, and we don't have a lot of the smell. And that's attributed to lanolin. And what that does is it dries the material really quickly, not allowing bacteria to grow within the threads, creating smell. And that's what happens in synthetics. So I really like merino for that, because you can wear merino day after day after day and not have a really nasty stench to it. You might get it by maybe day 5 or 7, depending on our bodies. But if we're staying hydrated, we should be pretty good as far as keeping that clean. Merino is great in the sense that it's a really good layering piece, or even a good piece by itself. Even if we go into hunting season where maybe like in August, September, it's warm-ish, but we don't want to over-regulate our body, merino's perfect for that, but we'll talk about that later. One con to merino, or one of the, if there is one, is that it is very susceptible to rips and tears, maybe moths and things like that. So we need to take care of this stuff pretty well. If you use this in maybe like a low desert scenario with cactus and acacia, be very careful. It doesn't take much for that to get ripped out if we're trail running, if we happen to fall or anything like that, whereas your synthetics will be a little more abrasion resistant. So for a very basic thing, I think merino works great for, again, warmth, breathability, keeping you warm while wicking away sweat and not producing a lot of smell or stench thanks to lanolin, which helps to fight off that bacteria. Kind of staying in the merino wool kind of column is my recommendation for technical apparel and gear. Merino socks. They're really great if you want to run those, if you're trail running, if you're getting back into hiking and staying in shape with a heavy pack or breaking in a new pack or gear. Merino socks are really great, especially because there's so much moisture in our feet, in that boot or whatever we're doing. These are a really good indicator of when our socks have kind of reached their maximum. Not to be too forward, but give your socks a smell. Maybe the next day and see if they're holding up. Merino wool does the test with these. I like to wear a silk liner with my merino socks. Kind of helps with some abrasion when I'm trail running or like heavy pack hiking to stay in shape. It just helps reduce a lot of the smell, so I can wear that sock over and over. And a lot of this stuff too, you guys, it helps to save water with some of this stuff. We don't have to wash it so frequently. You can get multiple uses out of your merino, and it's beneficial in the backcountry. Just give it a rinse in a creek and you're ready to go for the next day. Moving over to our synthetics. Synthetic is really pretty nice. Synthetic is great as far as abrasion resistance, breathability, comfort, and everything else. If we are running warm as we're moving into spring in some areas of the US where we might be getting warmer temps, or if you're just a warmer person altogether, synthetic is great for breathing and feeling cool and regulating the body a lot easier. Only thing about synthetic is that polyester, spandex, and or nylon blend holds that sweat and the dirt and everything else, and it allows the bacteria to grow. So be a little careful that if you happen to throw one of these guys on after a run the next day when we're lifting or something like that, you can start to maybe see some irritations around like high friction areas, like maybe over your shoulder if we're backpacking, maybe across the back of the traps if we're squatting, or just maybe around the chest if we're sweating and we're running, or you're wearing like a heart rate monitor. Be very careful with synthetics for that reason. Other than that, they're much more abrasion resistant. You might get maybe like a little bit of a pill if you run through some acacia or thorn or things like that. But synthetic overall is really comfortable. We have here with us the 2 approach hoodies by GOHUNT. These are long sleeves and hooded. And then I have, as just an example of like a short sleeve, is the Stone Glacier Enduro or synthetic short sleeve t-shirt. A lot of the guys actually really do like the synthetic t-shirt and hoodie by Stone Glacier when they're trail running in the evening or even heavy pack hiking during the day. So another nice thing about synthetics is they last. Unlike what we talked about with Merino, where you might see that maybe some holes will create after a number of washes, uses, abrasion and things like that. Synthetic is a little bit better as far as longevity. So if we're investing in really good synthetics and we're like, hey man, I don't have the money to blow on a lot of different t-shirts to work out, I just want a one-hitter quitter, synthetic is probably going to be your best bet. You will have to wash it more often, unfortunately, but that's okay. If you're doing like, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday workouts or whatever it might be, you can kind of splice that up with washing it on your Tuesday and you're ready to go Wednesday. As far as also washing, for some of us guys who have to worry about shrinkage and not losing a lot of our material in the washer and dryer, Merino has a tendency to maybe lose a ½ inch to an inch depending on how you wash. So I usually recommend, I'm 6'5", I have really long arms, so I will do a machine wash cold and I'll probably hang dry Merino stuff. Whereas with synthetics, I will do a machine wash cold and then tumble dry low. One other thing to kind of consider, you guys, is when doing a lot of washing and working out with our technical apparel is using the right detergent. So if you want to use like a Granger's or a Nick Wax or something like that, that's a less aggressive detergent that'll help maintain the vitality. A lot of these materials, some aggressive detergents like your Tides and so on do a good job of degreasing and de-oiling. They also do a good job of delaminating and removing some of the coatings or Gore-Texes and things that we have in our materials. So for synthetic like this, I'd say a non-aggressive, non-scented detergent works really, really well because when those pores open up, we don't want any irritants in our skin. We want to be able to breathe, cool down, and perform at a high level without having to think anymore. We just want to operate. So if we're looking to kind of get a lot out of what we want to do from, you know, the beginning of January into like maybe June or July before archery kicks off, synthetic has been really great. Pair it with like a really good fleece or even wear synthetic under a Merino for that warmth. And you know that you're maximizing your breathability. We're not choking off the body and it works really, really well. So if you head over to the GOHUNT gear shop, you guys can check out these synthetics and more. We have a lot of great Merino from other companies, a lot of great synthetics from other companies as well. These are just kind of examples of what we carry in the GOHUNT gear shop that we think can benefit you starting today, moving through our preseason, getting back into shape and everything that we want to do to just stay ready and stay motivated for that upcoming tag. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video really informative. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, give us a like, and if you guys have any comments, drop them below and we'd be happy to answer. Thank you so much.